spoiler warning. I'll be referring to some episodes from Season 5. If you haven't seen that, go watch some Miraculous and come back later. You have been warned, friends. What's up, extempers? Something I've seen a lot are people freely interchanging dead and in a coma for how they describe the current state Emilie is in. And I'm here to say there's an important difference. Why not? Because Emilie being either dead or alive can drastically affect how both Emilie and other characters end up being characterized in the show. What is characterization? Google defines characterization as the creation or construction of a fictional character or a description of the distinctive nature or features of someone or something. But what does that mean? Essentially, characterization is how a character comes across. Sometimes the author will directly tell you, but oftentimes, we as an audience, figure out these things through the actions and words of a character. I see you dozing off in the back of the classroom. This will be on the test, young extemper, so you'd best pay attention. Here's an example to help understand. Take the action of character A punching character B. If character B is much bigger or older than character A, we might characterize character A as brave or reckless. Now watch this. We can switch the characters, keep the same action, and the characterization of a character can change completely. Character B punching character A in this case, and we might characterize character A as meek or afraid. Again, notice the use of the word might. How we end up seeing a character is ever-changing as the story goes on. In fact, we might have a totally different perception of the character than the author does, simply based on our own personal experiences and stories. Isn't it amazing? Anyway, let's take a look at the case of Emilie. Either she is in a coma, or she is dead. If Emilie is dead, that will result in a drastically different characterization of Emilie and other characters. In Emilie's case, typically dead characters cannot act within the plot. Their legacies and memories can 100% affect the plot, but typically they themselves cannot act in the plot. For Gabriel, this makes his motivation of the necromantic trope, a subtrope of the seeks another's resurrection trope. Typically, in the Western canon of stories, we tend to associate necromantic motivations, aka trying to raise someone from the dead, as villainous and doomed to fail. There are a variety of reasons, but usually they end up along the lines that there is a natural life cycle, and that trying to fight it can be seen as unnatural, understandable, but unnatural. My point is, if Emilie is dead, then there is very little chance that Gabriel can raise her, and if he does, that the resurrection is permanent. For Adrian and Natalie, this characterizes them as more tragic. Adrian has already lost one parent, and based on what happens in the episode Destruction, he might lose two at this rate. This makes Natalie's characterization more tragic as well, because we know from the episode Passion, that Emilie herself has urged Natalie to stop the hunt for the miraculous. So Natalie's continued support of Gabriel's necromantic motivations would fly in the face of that request. In contrast, take the case that Emilie is in a coma. For Emilie, this characterizes her as not just a character reduced to memories or flashbacks. A coma has the possibility of an end, and that means she can be a character who the audience can see act in the world on the screen. For Gabriel, Emilie's possibility of coming back changes his motivations to the determinator trope, which is more sympathetic. Determinators are those who never want to give up till they get their goal, and it's a trope that spans from the your young hero that never gives up to a villain who claims that he'll get you next time. Notice the variety of associations with this characterization, which you wouldn't have gotten if you stuck with the previous necromantic motivations. As for Adrian and Natalie, it can be argued that their characterization changes somewhat as well. For Adrian, both the event and knowledge of the event of his mother being able to come back could have tremendous impact on his character as well as his dual role as a hero on Team Ladybug while simultaneously the son of Emilie, Hawkmoth's motivation. For Natalie, it would make her feelings more sympathetic yet also much more conflicted. While on one hand, her good friend says that the hunt for the miraculous must be stopped, effectively resigning herself to her comatose state, on the other hand, the husband of said friend won't stop the search because it could mean saving her from that state. It's why Natalie is so determined at this point to get to the miraculous first, in order to satisfy both sides in a resolution that aligns with her values. Besides a few characters, we in the audience are the lucky few who know that Emilie Agreste is in a comatose state, and not dead. That's why it's important that we don't switch dead for in a coma so interchangeably. What state we think Emilie is in can vastly affect how Emilie and the other characters are perceived, and it's imperative, aka super important, that we don't confuse ourselves about that. Anyway, this was just something I noticed happening before and thought I'd point out. Hope that was interesting and you enjoyed it. Later, extempors.